Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks and another episode of Building Jabba's Palace. And we're going to be starting off this episode down this end. I want to move this roof up by one brick, build the corridor in with the doors in, and start building the supporting structure up here ready for the next level to go on. And also for feeding through the axle, ready for the trapdoor that's going to be in Jabba's Palace. So that's the main part that we're going to be working on. I also want to move that wall back a little bit and also work out what we're going to be doing in this section here. And it would be nice to get part of this bit done as well. I'm probably not going to make that an operational door on there. There's only so many things that I really would like to see working on here. The trapdoor on there I think is important for sort of like the cinematic that I do at the very end of it. And the same with the Rancor door. I think that one's an important one to cut up, but there's no necessity to have the door coming up where the Rancor keeper looks through, which Luke runs to the door sort of thing. There's just if it was sort of like something that you were building so that your kids could play with, then I could understand doing it, but it's not for that purpose. I want to make sure I get a light into here ready, or the cable in here, sorry, ready, so I don't have to struggle with feeding it through, as I have had a few problems with the back cave doing that, so I want to make sure I get all of that in. So yes, we'll concentrate on this area to start with, then move that wall back, and then we'll go from there. So see what we can get done this week. And I've raised the prison roof up by one brick, and it's way too high. So I'm going to take that brick off and put it back to how it was before. In one of the pictures that I looked at, where Han was stood just below the circle bit, it looked like he could reach up and then touch it. And I think if this was sort of like to scale, there's no way he'd be able to touch that roof. So I'm going to put it back down to where it was originally, which was here. And yeah, leave it as it was before. But it's worth having a go and see if it looks any better. What we're going to do now, we're going to concentrate on doing the corridor part here. And here we have our first technical problem of the day. Hasn't taken long. Here is a picture of the throne room, and this is in the Star Wars locations book. And as you can see, this corridor here is what leads from the throne room down to the detention area. And this cell here is Han and Chewie's. So when you go down the stairs, as you see on this footage on screen now, he goes down the stairs, turns right, bangs his head, and then his cell is the first one on the right. Now if we go back to my Lego mock here, if I was coming down, the stairs would be over here, turn right, first cell on the right. Even if I move that back and put the stairs there, you're not going to be able to see in the cell because the stairs are going to be in the way. So I need to try and work out a way of getting around that. Second problem we've got is, again, you've got the stairs coming down, turn right, go all the way to the end of the corridor, and then turn left, and then you've got the droid torture room down there. So again, if we come down the stairs, turn right, first right on there, then you go all the way down the corridor, turn left, and then droid torture room. It'll be over here, so you're not going to be able to see it. We're going to have a rock face over there. So I need to work out a way around this. What I'm thinking about doing is rotating the cell around 90 degrees and have the corridor down here. So it's almost going to be like a cutway into the corridor. And then we'll have the stairs coming down here. And then I'm going to have to use some artistic license and just plop the droid torture room down on this section here. So that is what I'm thinking about doing. It will mean extending this by one base plate, which isn't such a bad thing, because in Return of the Jedi, it looks like a C-3PO and R2-D2 so I gently climb up a hill till they get to the entrance to Jabba's palace. I was a little bit concerned that how I was going to get all the towers on here on top of this mock as it was. So at least if I extend it by one, I can have a more of a gentle incline up to the main building where they knock on the door, because there won't be anything above these two. We'll just have stairs going up to the throne room, and then that will be it. So yeah, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to rotate that round, build the corridor in, and then we'll have the room ready here for doing the droid torture room, and then I can build all of that up at the back and get that section of it done, and then we can have, like I said, the stairs going up. So that's what I'm going to concentrate on in this update and see how much of that we can get done. Obviously, the one problem we've got with that, you're not going to have a cutway to be able to see into Han and Chewie's cell, and I really want to have that light feature on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, when you're looking at it, I'm going to have it so I can actually pull a section away so you can actually see the details inside the cell. So I've got to scrap that, and then we can start work on it. Let the fun begin. And the prison cell has been destroyed, and we've pulled the plates up and the filler brick ready to do the stairs. So I'm going to have to work out how steep we want the stairs coming down here. We'll put the archway in, and then we'll build the wall up, covering all of that filler brick in. And we're not going to worry about covering this up here. It's only going to be as far as you can see, because there isn't going to be anything above this anymore. Originally, there was going to be the droid torture room, which is now going to be here, where there will be a base plate put here. So we just need to carry on building around that section. Once we've done that, all of this section back here, we can start putting the filler brick in and building it up ready. So that's sort of like part of what's going to be happening this week. We will get this base plate down here ready as well. And I might even try and get the outline of the droid torture room in there. Again, I got asked in, I think it was the last update, whether or not what mechanics we were going to have in here, and it would be nice to have it so if you just turn something, it does move the droids that are in there, like the feet on the gonk droid and the one that's held up if he gets pulled apart. So it'd be nice to have some sort of motion in there. Whether or not we can manage it or not is another matter. There will not be any motors at all in this mock. It is all just going to be done by hand levers. I don't own the motors, and I can't think of any reason why I would want to buy them for this mock. So yeah, let's get back to building this all up and work out exactly how it's going to go. So once we've made a bit of progress, we'll check back in. And we have our second technical problem of the day, and it's to do with the archway. Originally I've made these steps, you can see they're 6 wide. However, when I went to find out an 8 wide arch to cover them, I couldn't find one. So I've looked on Bricklink to see what sets they're in, and they're not in any sets apparently. They don't do it in dark tan, the arch that I'm after. So what I'm going to have to do is, because I want this to be dark tan down here, I'm going to have to use these 1x5 for each one. So it's going to make it 2 studs wider than I'd originally planned. And the same will go for this corridor. I'll have to make that the same. So yeah, probably going to need to order some more of those in, but I can use the tan ones which are down there on the hanger, which aren't doing anything at the moment. So I can bring those down and put them in if needs be, and then just swap them over afterwards. Because I won't be building up that much on here, it will be quite easy to take them out and replace them. But yeah, let's get back to it, and we'll check back in once we finally got some walls put up on there. The stairs started off with a lot of filler brick underneath so that you can push down on them and they're not going to collapse. I don't want it collapsing whilst putting the tiles on. Then where you can't actually see the bricks, I've just put any colour brick in there, the filler brick. And then where you are going to see the bricks, and obviously I've just gone with a dark tan colour and just built it up to the height which I think I'm going to need it to go to. I can always add more to it if needs be towards the end. And then I've just added the arches on as well. And that's it, pretty much job done on that side of it. And we've made a start on the arches. We've got 2 arches in here so far, one at the bottom of the stairs, and then this one which is going to be the corridor leading to the detention cells. I've put a snot brick in here which is going to have the pipes coming out of it, which are what Chewie bangs his head on when he's about to come through the archway here. So that may actually need to come down by 1 brick, because I think the pipes actually go below the archway. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to build the cell in here next, and then I can work out how big I need the wall to go in here, which will be one that will slide in and out, so we can sort of like show you inside it. Having already built one prison cell earlier on, I kept the roof section as it was and then used that as a template for the size I wanted. The bed part of it, that was already made up, so again it was just a case of sticking that onto the wall and then just building the bricks all the way around it. Again, using filler brick on the sides just to give it that extra layer, so if any light is shining through for whatever reason, you're not going to see it and it's still going to look like a dark cell. Then all I needed to do after that was amend the roof so that the hole for the wire to feed through was at the back rather than the side as it was previously coming through. Quite straightforward, tiles on the top, and then that just sits on there. Whereas before I want to be able to take this out, I don't need the roof out. I no longer need to do that on the mock this time round. So once it's on there, it'll be in there flush. The only reason I've gone for the snot technique is just so I can get the smooth finish on the roof. And there we have the front of the first prison cell, and all that happens is you just slide that out and you can then look inside the prison cell. There will be obviously the light coming through the top, so it won't be as dark as that in there. The door will be permanently on there, so it's not one that's going to open or close at all, so we don't need to worry about that. We'll do a brick built one, make sure it looks right, and this just slides back into place on there. Once we build the plates up across the top there, the height of the ceiling will be level with this, So we very may well overlap that. I'm not going to be putting another prison cell that you can get inside of here. It will just be the same look as that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on building across here, and then we'll get to the droid torture room, and I've got to work out how big I'm going to be doing that. I'm quite happy with the colour. I don't mind the fact that the floor and the walls are the same colour, and even the stairs, they'll probably be the same colour as well. I'm hoping that sort of like other little details around with different colours is all that's going to be required here. So we've put in the second archway along the corridor here, and I'm thinking about doing a couple of different things on here. First of all, putting two arches next to each other so it's 2 bricks wide as opposed to 1, but also making a little bit of a wall here, so it'll be 4 bricks wide, so you can still see through, but just so it looks more like walls would be along here rather than just these really thin pillars. So once we've decided on that, we'll make the necessary changes, and we'll check back in once we've made some more progress. So let's get back to it. And we have doubled the size of the arches, so they're now 2 bricks wide as opposed to the 1. And I do prefer the look of it, especially like this bit here, the width of it I think looks a little bit better. I've made an indentation in the wall here, so we've used some jumper plates and built the brickwork in there, and then we'll just put some sort of like pattern on the wall just to break it up a little bit more. Next up, we're going to build another archway here, which is the end of the corridor, and then that's going to be leading into the droid torture room, which will be going here. So the next thing we need to do is start building up this base plate here and put all of the bricks down for the mills-like style. And then once we've done that, we can then build the walls around for the droid torture room. And I've started building up the walls for the droid torture room, and as you can see, I've gone 2 skins deep, so put filler brick in behind it. And the reason for that is when filming, if there's any light come from behind, hopefully it won't shine through, whereas very often with one skin of bricks you can see daylight through there. So that's the reason we've gone for that. I've decided I am going to make a second prison cell behind here, so I'm going to do the same sort we've done there to pull that out. So it's going to be a little bit more work, but I think it's going to be worth it because, again, as mentioned before, could put another Easter egg in there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull that wall down, redo it exactly the same as that one, and then we'll carry on building up the rest of it. So yeah, it's starting to come on. Quite pleased with the progress we've made so far in this update. And we've got the second cell all made up there. We've got the little bed at the back. So on that cell, the bed's on that wall, and I thought I'd mix it up and put it on the back bit there. Need to get a load of the 1x1 and 1x2 in the dark tan plates just to finish the floor off to give it that texture, the same as what we've done in the hangar. Obviously need to order the arches as well. I need half a dozen of those, but I'm really running out of all my dark tan bricks as well. I've just got through so many of those today just doing this small section, so I'm going to need to order a whole load of those in. With the droid torture room, we're not going to touch that anymore at this time. We need to work out exactly what we're going to be doing in there. There's no point tiling the floor because I have to pull half the tiles back up once I start putting things in there. So I need to watch Return of the Jedi a few times and see what literature we can find with pictures of what's going on in there. Next up, we're going to make another one of these doorway sort of things to go in there. And I've also got a designer door at some stage to go in. The roof section, I'm going to try and find out a small brown bit so I can get the roof part all done. One thing I don't think I've got any more of are these arches in black, so I think I'm going to have to order those in as well. And again, it means I won't be able to put anything on the top of this particular section here, which is a shame. One thing is the way that, because there's nothing going across there, I don't suppose it makes that much difference. If we were going to be putting a room on there, it could hold things up. But once I've got this section here, I can then concentrate on a different part of the mock. So whether it's like doing the rock work inside of here, that's another thing we could do. I want to move that wall back in this update as well. But yeah, it's coming on nicely. And so we're just going to carry on now and see how much more we can get done. And just checking with an update, and as you can see, we have got 2 prison cells done now. Still got to design the doors and put those on, but the roof is now done. I managed to find some bricks, which I didn't realise I had, and both of the fronts come off now, which is good. Next up, we're going to try and move that wall back by probably about 6 studs. I also want to get the tiles up the stairs done as well, and I'm going to do that in a dark tan, I think. And if I get a chance, I want to start building up the structure on the back. So this has taken a lot longer than I anticipated. And it was after deciding to put the second cell in, that did take a little bit longer. But yeah, pleased with how it's coming on. But anyway, let's get back to it and see what else we can get done. And we've managed to get all of the stairs tiled up. We've left 2 studs exposed on the second step up, and that's just so we can put a minifigure on there. Really liking how this is coming along. Initially I was a little bit concerned about it all being the same colour, but I do think it works really well, and once these arches are completed I think it's going to look absolutely spot on. So I'm not worried about the fact it is all the dark tan colour at this moment. Also, once I put some finer details in, like pipes on the ceiling, the minifigure placement, the doors in there, there'll be enough things breaking it up, and especially when you come down to the droid torture room as well, that's all going to have the same sort of like effect. Further down here, we've moved the wall back on the Rancor pit, or the Rancor housing. Just need to build up the wall just there and put the snot bricks on and plate that all off. But what we're going to do now, have a little bit of a tidy up on this section here and then start building that up a little bit. So let's get to it and see what we can get done. And just checking in one final time, and as you can see, we've built a lot up at the back here, and as you would have seen in the time lapse, I did remove every other row of plate going across, and I'm thinking about doing the same going that way. So I'd remove this one, and then that one, and that one, for example, as long as I can keep the structural integrity there, because at the moment it's rock solid. Then I'm going to do that. I've run out of these plates already, and I've got some over there which are longer. However, I could do with some more of this length, and it would enable me to do a little bit more on there. I've still got a fair few of the 2x2 bricks, but I am going to need to order in a lot more of the filler brick and filler plate until the back cave's destroyed, and we're a few weeks away from that happening just yet. As I said before, we've moved this back as well, so I'm really pleased with that, and the progress we've made this week I think is really good. I'm loving how this prison cell detention area is coming on, leading to the droid torture room. As I said, it's not accurate to how Jabba's palace would be, but I'm quite pleased with the way it's coming out. I mentioned earlier on in the video about there being a lot of wasted space on here, and one thing I am contemplating doing is putting a couple of rooms in here. Haven't decided on 100% yet, but I was thinking about putting the kitchen in, which you see in the Book of Boba Fett. So it's just another little detail I could possibly put in there, but I'll just decide that a little bit later on. Another thing that I mentioned was the mechanics having this door opening but not having those doors opening. And one thing that I have been considering is having the hangar door open on the palace here. The one thing is, I believe that the door goes down, it doesn't go up. Now what that would mean, I would need to raise that entire hangar up by however big the door is going to be. It's not going to be a problem in the sense of the hangar coming up higher, because it will still be lower than by the time we got the throne room on here. So that could be absolutely fine. I'd need to check. But obviously I will need to put that entire hangar on stilts. Now again, it's going to take a lot of bricks, and what I would do is I would use the art plates that I've used on Wayne Manor to keep the roof up on there. So once that's been destroyed, I might consider raising this up, and I should be able to, if I'm very careful, all I need to do is peel the base plates off and then build it going upwards. So it's something I'm going to consider doing. I don't want to destroy all of that, so it will only be if I can work it out, and also whether or not I think it's going to be worthwhile and bring much to the party. But again, when it comes to cinematic, I think it would just be pretty cool to be able to see the door open on there. So let me know what you think. If you think it'll be worthwhile doing, and a good addition to Jabba's palace, Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Hope you've enjoyed the update. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen, and please share it with as many people as possible. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be kept up to date with any future content that we have on the channel. Anyway, thanks for popping on by. See you next time. Bye for now.